Just want to say thanks everybody for dialing in. Very excited about today's webinar that's being hosted by Brett Kozlowski from URC. Today we're going to be going over MXHome Pro, which in a very short period of time has really taken off, and we really look at this as the the future of MX product from URC. We will be recording the session, and it'll be posted up to our YouTube channel following the session here. So generally within 24 hours we get these things posted up. While you're there, I would highly recommend that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we've got about 30 or so webinars posted up there of various different content that we do weekly, and we're really getting some great feedback on it. So with that, I'm going to, also if you have any questions or anything during the session, just type them into the chat window, and I can moderate that for Brett, and we can stop at the appropriate time and get those questions answered. At the end, we will be taking questions, and at that time you could either type them into the chat window or mute yourself and ask it out loud, so whatever you prefer. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Brett, and thanks again for joining us.
All right, thanks again, Bill, and thank you everyone for joining us. We're going to kind of do a brief overview of the MXHome Pro. I really edited it down to try and keep it kind of short. There's really only 3 pieces of hardware, and then we kind of want to do a nice little overview of programming for you guys. I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible. I know we allocated about an hour. I'm going to try and keep it more around 30-40 minutes. So for those of you who don't know about URC, just real quick introduction here. We are still, the leading supplier of smart home technology in the industry. Of course, delivering in-class home automation for over 25 years. Actually, we're in our 26th year right now. And we're providing, obviously, our services for tons of residential and commercial installations worldwide. Okay, and we're really, really known for our ergonomics of our remote control, and of course our reliability and our performance as well. And believe it or not, we have over 100 million remote controls sold in just the past 10 years alone. All right, so we kind of realized we have a new kind of customer nowadays. We have a more tech-savvy customer, and we're really trying to provide the opportunity for the CEDIA channel for that customer, guys that are trying to embrace that Internet of Things. Okay, and they really want to look at seamlessly connecting their homes and all of their digital and virtual spaces as well. And they're kind of trying to make their own little smart home, okay? And that's what MXHome Pro is all about, creating a little smart home automation system. Okay, and of course we're there to, design and meet the needs of this connected generation. All right, so MXHome Pro is designed and available exclusively through the CEDIA channel. We're going to continually do new product development. This is something that we built from the ground up. It wasn't a derivative of anything that's already out there. And it's, we really tried to get our top tier integration partners. So we're really working with other people in the industry to kind of bring this all together. And of course, we have the industry's largest database of IR and IP control codes as well. All right, so MXHome Pro. It's really, really simple to program and very easy to operate system. Okay, I always tell people if you know how to program our CCP line of product, you can easily jump right into MXHome Pro. Layout's a little bit different, which I'll show you in a bit here, but really the programming steps are virtually the same. But a little bit different than TCP, not only can we just control entertainment devices, we can also incorporate some smart home devices as well. So whether it be home theater and whole house music systems, interior or exterior lighting, cameras, door locks, sensors, thermostats, shades, and of course, the vast array of ZWave products on the market today. So it's definitely perfect for, whether it be primary, vacation home, townhouse, condos, just a great little starter, let's call it, automation system. And it is, of course, ideal for an entry point for these new customers to start a smart home system as well. All right, so MXHome Pro Overview. It's kind of different because this is using a cloud-based technology. Okay, fast, simple setup and service available. So we really tout ourselves on a fast installation where you can really program a MXHome Pro system in minutes, not necessarily hours. It's menu-driven web pages for programming and updates. And so again, this is all done in the cloud. And because it's cloud-based, you can actually program via PC, Mac, phone, or tablet. Phone's a little tricky just because of the real estate. I'd recommend the tablet or a PC. And the nice part, because it's cloud-based, you could service it from anywhere in the world without rolling a truck. All you need is a internet connection. All right, client files. Never have to manage them. Okay, they never get lost. They're stored safely in our cloud-based system. And then, of course, training. We do it many different ways that you could get trained in this product. We have in-person trainings, which we'll be hosting a training session in February for all nets. We also have live webinars, such as what you're watching right now. And of course, we have our self-paced classes as well, available at our URC University. And so let's talk a little bit about the product, and then we'll get into our programming. So first part is our MXHome Pro Hub that includes our mobile app. This is a $299 MSRP. Okay, our Smart Hub, the brains of the system. It could be configured as either wired or wireless. And this is the very first wireless base station that URC has actually ever created. And it's for controlling the main room of your entertainment system. Okay, you can also control smart devices throughout the home with this hub. And a little bit more about this hub as well. It does have 4 IR outputs on the back and does have a front IR blaster as well. Now, you do need to have a smart hub for every single room that you're going to include into the system. The capacity is 5 rooms in the home, and you could actually do up to 3 hubs per each room. So kind of a, let's call it, master-slave configuration. Now, the mobile app, it's downloaded for free, either on your Apple iTunes or the Google Play Store. And it's unlimited, so you could add as many mobile devices into your system as you need. And then, of course, we offer off-site control as well, so you could control whether you're in the home or while you're away. And something new that we came up with, we have something called the in-app launcher. So I always joke around and say we can never out-app an app. So instead of creating two-way modules for our mobile devices, instead we give you a little tray that lets you launch up to 8 apps, all from our application. So you're doing a customer's home that maybe has a Sonos system, you can actually have them launch the Sonos app right from our app. And then we give you a little back to MXHome Pro in the upper left-hand corner. Next is the MXHome Pro, the R500 remote control. Again, it's $299 MSRP. This is a color 2-inch LCD screen Wi-Fi remote. And this is a single room control only. Whereas our mobile app, you can actually toggle between up to those 5 separate rooms that you program. This is single room only. You can also control smart home devices as well. The remote, actually, we have to develop two-way modules for them, but we do have some of the most popular. We had about 15 at launch, and we'll develop and deploy more as time goes on. Now, with those two-way modules, obviously, you'll get full two-way feedback and metadata. And you can even view security cameras right on the LCD display. Now, keep in mind, you do need our ZWave Gateway to view cameras, and you do need ZIP certified cameras, which are ZWave Internet Protocol cameras. And of course, remote control with hard buttons is always going to be the perfect interface for TV viewing. And then, of course, we can always manipulate how our remote looks, so we do allow you to create a custom interface, just like you are used to with CCP. All right, last piece is our ZWave Gateway, our ZW2. It's a 249 MSRP. You can use this to expand control of basically thousands of ZWave devices. So whether it be interior or exterior lighting, door locks and sensors, security and surveillance cameras, thermostats, motorized shades, and we can create one-touch ZWave scenes as well, all through this gateway. And then, of course, we do have our branded lighting, Vivito by URC. It's our own ZWave brand. We have tons of SKUs available, whether it be dimmers, receptacles, lamp dimmers, all available for purchase through us as well. All right, before I dive into the programming section, anyone have any questions concerning some of the hardware?
No questions in the chat window, Brett.
Perfect. All right, so let me get to our programming interface. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to log into a website. It's www.mxhomepro.com. There you would actually register your system. Okay. One thing I always recommend for everyone, if it's your first time around, is there's this little help box up top here. And if you notice, we have an option for applying for a dealer account. I highly recommend everyone apply for a dealer account. It lets you go and register every single project you do to your dealer account, so you have an overview of every single project that you have done for MXHome Pro. Okay, and then you can log in and connect, and if you need to make any changes, you can. You can invite installers just via email address and have them basically join your dealer profile, so you can have multiple installers all a part of this, okay, all with separate credentials as well. Okay, some of the other things your dealer account gets you is you can actually create device and remote templates. Okay, so let's say you've got that satellite box that you're programming. You take the time and move all the buttons around and make it look all pretty for your customer. You can actually now save that device as a template and reuse it for every single project you do, saving you tons of time in the end. Okay, again, you can also do remote templates as well. By that meaning, you've got a CAN system that you do, that Sony TV with a Yamaha AVR, with Roku and Apple TV. Okay, we can now save that whole system, and as you deploy it, you can just bring up that template and load it into the hub and your remotes. Okay, and then last of all, it also gives you the option of doing programming not connected to a hub as well. So right now I'm connected to a hub as I do my programming. I also would have that option of doing programming without actually having the devices up and online. So if you guys haven't done it already, make sure you apply for a dealer account. We usually tell you about 24 to 48 hours, but I've seen it turned around in as quick as a couple of hours. But just definitely go and register for it as soon as you can. All right, so now that I'm logged into MXHome Pro, I've already discovered my hub and I've already discovered my remote control. I'm actually in our home overview. We can see these devices here. And we can actually go to our programming menu. Okay, it's kind of similar to CCP, but our tabs aren't moving from left to right. Instead, they're kind of moving from top to bottom. So I've already added the remote to the room, but if I click down here, it'll take me to the next window, asking me to discover my remote into the system. All right, since it's already discovered, it's not going to see it. So let's just go back here. So really the first step in actually programming MXHome Pro is we're going to add in our entertainment devices to the system. We'll just build a small home theater. So first we'll pick our device type. So I'm fine with adding our TV first, and we can hit next. We can rename that device. Maybe I just want to call it TV. And then we can hit next again. Now we can go and search for our brands. Now we can use the QWERTY keyboard. So I'm going to type in Sony. Again, save you some time where you can actually type instead of scrolling through a huge list. Once we get our brand, you can hit next again. Now we're actually going to pick our code set that we're going to end up using. So let's say we want to do an IP control for this Sony TV. Now we do have our generic code sets. We've asked for this to be changed, but for some reason it works differently than TCP. If you guys are familiar with TCP, the higher the number, the most current code set that it is. It's actually the opposite in MXHome Pro. We've kind of asked them if they would switch it around, and so it's similar to CCP, but they have not done that yet. So code set 1 is actually the newest code set that Sony has. Personally, I like to do the search all models. This way I can actually search just by model number as well.
Is that the same on the IR codes? Is the lowest the most current, or is it still the highest number, the most current on the IR?
No, it's the same as the IP. It's the lowest number is the most current one. And again, we've asked them to change this so it's exactly the same as CCP. It just has not been done yet. We'll switch to network controlled again, and then we could select the code set from our lists. Now, when you're doing an IP controlled device, we will have to enter in the IP address. Obviously, it needs to get set to static inside the actual device itself. And the port number should be already figured out for you. It's the generic port number that these devices are using. If you do happen to change it in the device, please make sure you change it here as well. Now, once you got the static IP address in, we can hit next. Now, something else that we have inside of MXHome Pro is our favorite channels module. Right now, this is a free service. We're letting it be free for, let's call it, the next year. We've already had it out for a couple of months, so let's call it for the next 9 months. Eventually, we're probably going to have to charge for it. We're just not exactly sure how that's going to be done yet. It is powered by a service called Gracenote, which is a Tribune company, and it actually lets you or your customer go and add favorite channels up to 60, okay, all by themselves. Okay, and that would be complete with channel icon as well. Now, because it's powered by a cloud service, the great part is when a channel changes its channel number or maybe changes its icon, as soon as that information gets back to Gracenote, that is actually changed dynamically on your remotes and or mobile devices. Okay, so in this case, since we'll have a cable or satellite box, we'll select not to use the favorite channel on this device. And just click Finish. All right, so that was one device we added. Let's go and add another. So let's say we're going to add a cable box now. Just call it cable. And you can use our QWERTY keyboard. And we'll pick Xfinity. Again, I like to do the search by all models. And Xfinity, since we're delivering our code set via IP from our remote or mobile devices to our hub, I'm going to pick the Xfinity IP only and hit next. Okay, for IR controlled devices, we then come up with the page that lets us assign what IR output. Me personally, I really am big into IR routing. I think everyone should do it. I never really like to set it to all, so I'll select port 1. Okay, we also do have the option of wireless IR. Really what that means is that we're utilizing the IR blaster on the front of the hub. So we will have to have line of sight from the hub to whatever device we're controlling. And we'll hit next. Now, since this cable box, we probably do want to add our favorite channel module. This way, you or your customer can go and add their favorite channels right to this device. So that's done, we'll hit finish. All right, so let's add another device. This time, we will add in a AVR. We'll hit next. We want to just call it AVR instead. Search for brands, do Yamaha, and we'll hit next. All right, so we're going to do search by all models, and this we can control via the network. And I'm going to pick the 2060 main and hit next. Again, because this is an IP device, we'll have to put in its static IP address, and we can hit finish. And then we'll add in one more device here. So we'll do a Apple TV. Again, I like to do search by all models, and we'll do the Apple TV 4th generation. Again, if you want to test it, you can always test it as well. Once we know that it works, you can hit next, and we'll select the IR port that we're going to use for this device. All right, so I think we have a nice little system that's probably pretty common for you guys. TV, AVR, cable box, and an Apple TV. After we added all of our entertainment devices, we could set up volume control for these. So we could pick all our devices that, let's call it, this is the same thing as in CCP, our punch through. So our cable box and our AVR, and maybe we even want our home menu. And we're going to say we want the AVR to control the volume. Okay? So no matter whether we're in the home menu, cable box, Apple TV, AVR is going to be punched through to the volume up and down and mute commands. We can hit finish. All right, after we set up volume control, we can set up the power off button. So let's call it the system off. All right, couple of things that we can do. We can basically leave this in just in kind of a power menu mode. Wish I could actually show you this, but we could actually go and when they hit the power button, it would actually bring up a screen that would give them the option to turn manually on and off all of these devices. Well, let's be honest, you guys do custom programming, so this is not really the right way to go. So when I set up my power off, I always do go advanced. And this will actually bring up our advanced menu. Okay, and we want to turn all these devices off in the room. When we go advanced, it's very much like writing macros in CCP. So we have our little macro editing window here, and we could pick our device and say our TV, and then we want to power our TV off. We can, of course, test it as well, and we can add that right to our macro window. Cable box, a lot of guys just leave it on, so we can leave that on as well. Our AVR, we would power off, and we would add that. Okay, our other two devices, most people would leave them just on, our cable box and Apple TV, so we don't necessarily need to add them to this macro. We can add in any delay times if we want to. So maybe we want 0.2 of a second delay, and we can reorder these as well. That's by grabbing these little 3 lines here and drag and dropping them to reorder them. Okay, so we just wrote a power off macro. After we're done here, just hit next. This is that same screen that would allow, let's call it a page to pop up, and your customer could manually turn something off. Personally, again, I like to just disable the screen so it kind of runs like CCP where they hit power off, no screen pops up at all. It just runs the macro that you programmed. Now, there has been a couple of cases where having the screen might be a good thing. I've run into a TV that maybe has a power toggle. Well, maybe that's not such a bad thing to have the TV, the customer manually turn it off and it doesn't run in the macro. That way it always stays in sync. So there could be a good case for using this particular feature. But in our case, with all of our discrete on and off commands, we could just disable the screen altogether. We can hit next. All right, we want to continue back in this room. All right, here's where we can also build our entertainment page devices. Now, in the programming menu, we could do that as well. It's called Set Up a Simple Activity for Devices. But again, it encompasses that same screen we were talking about where it does kind of make your customer manually turn things on. So again, you could say, hey, power, inputs, and we could make these check marks and have that screen, or just like in our power off macro, we can have the option of going advanced. Again, when we go advanced, we can build an automated activity on the entertainment page, and we could say, hey, we want to do this to our cable box. We'll hit next, and then we can write our macro just like we would in CCP. So we want our TV to power on. We have to go to our HDMI 1. We'll power on our AVR. Go to HDMI 1 as well. Those are pretty much all the commands that we need. And of course, we can reorder and add in any delays as necessary. And there you go. So here's our activity macro for our cable box. We can hit next. Again, this is that same screen that would pop up that little window and let your customer manually turn things off. Again, I like to disable that and just let this macro run in the background. And we'll hit next. Okay, we'll do another one for our Apple TV. Go to our TV, power on, HDMI 1 input, and our AVR will power on. We'll pick HDMI 2 this time. Again, we'll reorder it and add in all of our necessary delay times. All right, and then we'll hit next. Again, we'll disable it just like we did for cable TV, so the macro just runs in the background, and we'll hit next. All right, so let's continue in the room. All right, we'll jump back to our programming menu. So we've pretty much gone through our first 5 tabs up top here. We can add an additional controller. And then there's also the option of adding an advanced device to the system. This refers to any two-way device. So let's click on this. And here's our list of available two-way modules that are currently supported by our R500 remote. So if your customer has Sonos in their system, you can pick Sonos, hit next. You can change the name if we'd like to. Obviously fine with just Sonos. And this is required for Sonos integration would be the MAC address. In a lot of cases, it'd be a static IP address. We would enter in the MAC address. I'll just make something up. Right, and we just hit finish. All right, let's go back to our advanced menu. So we've already done automated activities for our entertainment menu. Okay, we can also edit our automated activities at any given time. So we can check any on these lists and edit what they do. You can also add a room to a system. So if it's a multi-room system, we can add another hub and add another room. Here's what I really want to show you in this area is we have the option of also editing our entertainment menu as well. So a lot of times in CCP, you guys will hide your TV and your AVR because let's be honest, customer really doesn't need to access that. So we have the option of highlighting the TV. We can edit this. We can either hide the text or we could just flat out hide the device as well. So I'm going to choose to hide the device on our TV. And we can also change the icon as well. And I'll show you how to do that in a different one. Also reorder these. So I'm going to pull cable, Apple TV, and our Sonos to the top. Click on our AVR. AVR, we can hide this device as well. Hit done. Maybe our Apple TV, we want to change the icon. So you pick the Apple TV icon, hit select. Now, since we have a nice icon that says Apple TV on it, we maybe want to hide the text as well and hit done. So now it's a nice clean look. All right, after we've done and edited our main menu, we could just hit finish. wasn't good. Not sure why that is. Let's go back. Oh, did save it. Okay, besides editing the entertainment menu, we can also edit the layout and functions of any of our devices. We can take a look at our cable box, hit next. And this is going to show us the layout. And this is how it appears actually, let's call it on the R500. These are the 6 soft keys. And we can reorder them any way that we want. So maybe we want page plus and page minus here. There's our replay button, okay, TV power. Okay, we can highlight this, and maybe we want to hide this button. Don't really need to have TV power or even all power. We can hide that. Again, we can move these around. Okay, we can also look at our hard buttons as well. These are how our hard buttons are laid out. Maybe we want on our skip minus button. Add from device. This would be our cable box. And we could find our replay button. Now we just map replay on our skip back. And that way we don't need to see it on our actual menu pages. Once we're done, just hit finish. All right, and of course we could do that for Apple TV as well. Again, in the advanced menu, last little option here is we can learn codes from an IR remote. So your hub actually does double up as a IR learner. So if there's a device that wasn't in our database and you needed to learn the code set just from the manufacturer's remote, we can say learn code from an IR remote. And we can either learn it to an existing device or we can create a new device to learn the codes to. After we're done programming everything, we've got all of our macros done, we've fixed our layout and everything. We see that in our home overview. It's going to give you what you've programmed into it. So we've programmed TV, cable box, AVR, and an Apple TV, and a Sonos system as well. We do have the option of doing any editing if we want to, or obviously deleting devices. Okay, it does show where our punch throughs are. So volume is coming from the AVR for our Apple TV and our cable box. Okay, and it also shows us our favorite channel module when we're using it, so we have it selected for our cable box. Okay, once it's all done, we just go to our download tab, hit start, and it's going to send that to our hub. And that is it. We just programmed a really basic MXHome Pro system. So I think at this time, I think we can open up for some questions, Bill.
Yeah, thanks, Brett. A few questions have come in. One is if you've gone ahead and programmed a remote or for a customer and there's a similar system that you're doing next, is there a copy, paste, or a way to kind of use the work that you've done before on your next project?
That's when it comes to templates. So having a dealer account and actually being able to save something as a actual template. I don't remember where that is. See the job lists. Let's see if I can remember where that is. There is a place to, here we go. So we can export the whole room as a template if I wanted to. So I just did the family room. I export the whole thing. And again, this is only for dealer accounts. So again, make sure you do that dealer account. But yes, I can export the whole room as a template. I can export just particular devices. Like I said, you clean up a device. You like the way that it looks. You want to reuse it over and over again. You would do that here. And then you would just import either that room or that device. So again, saving you just tons and tons of time.
That's great. The custom setup devices, how would we bring those in?
Custom setup devices.
Thomas, maybe you can, maybe you can give us a little bit more clarification on there.
He just covered that.
Okay, gotcha.
I covered it? Good.
Yeah, it was below on the import menu, where you could just import a device. You have to be a dealer. You have to be dealer logged in to do that. That was that previous page you were on.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. That's how you export and also import either device or room templates.
Is there a loading screen on macros?
There's a please wait that runs while it's happening.
Okay. If a device is hidden, how do we calibrate a TV? Can we simply move it to a page 2 on the remote control instead of hiding it?
Yeah, in theory you could. Let's go back to our advanced menu. Add our entertainment menu. Unfortunately, they go in order, so you'd almost have to add a couple of dummy devices. Really wasn't designed to just, do it the way that you're talking about. But you can do stuff like maybe a press and hold as well. So if you didn't want your customer to get into it, you could do like a press and hold if you wanted to. But no, there's really no true way to just move it to a page 2 because it's going to go in order. There's basically 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be page 1 on the remote, the first 3 icons, and anything more is going to be on page 2 anyway. So in theory, this TV is already going to be on page 2. So you just have to know if you only had 2 devices in your system, then they would show up as cable Apple TV, and TV would be in that 3rd slot. You can always do let's call it a blank entertainment device if you wanted to do that. And that would just be, the system, entertainment menu. There's a way to add just a general device. I don't remember where that is because there's a way to just add that. All right, that was it. So when we go to build an automated activity on a new entertainment page button, so not a device because we've already added our device, but if we wanted to build another button, we could call it anything I want, or we could leave it blank if you wanted stuff to shift over to the next page. But that's how, unfortunately, there's no page 1, page 2 on the entertainment menu to drag and drop it over because it's going to be a little bit different on mobile devices versus the remote. The remote, it's 3 icons stacked on top of one another, and on a mobile device, depending whether it's an iPad or an iPhone or an Android tablet or Android phone, would depend on how many of those icons you see.
Okay. Does the remote have an ABCD hard button?
It has a red, green, yellow, blue.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions, guys? That was all the questions in the chat window, but feel free to either unmute yourself or type it in the chat window. I'd be happy to read them aloud. Does this control devices such as global cache iTouch?
I don't believe any of that stuff is in our database, so I guess my answer would be no. But we could you see if that's ever been added. Might be a little hunting around to see if it's in there. Last I checked, it was not in our database, I guess, to answer your question. And since I don't see an actual aux category, I'm going to assume that that is still the case, because I don't really see it falling into any of these other categories.
He's asking because he has a system that requires two 12-volt triggers.
Yeah, not to my knowledge. I don't believe we have any of the global cache stuff in our database as of yet.
Okay. What type of IP cameras did you say the system would support?
ZIP. So that's Z-Wave Internet Protocol cameras. So you might have to talk to your manufacturer and see if they support ZIP. You will need the ZWave Gateway because that's acting kind of as the bridge to our system. So ZIP certified camera.
Do you have any brands that you've tested out, or any recommendations?
Only one I tested out is Leland.
Okay. I already have a Z-Wave hub in the home. Do I need yours?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah, we do not support anyone else's Z-Wave hub, as of right now. So yes, ours would be required.
Okay. This is a follow-up question. I understand the ZIP cameras. Is this also true for total control?
No.
Those where you can use OnVIF. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, we support, let's call it about 20 IP camera manufacturers, all just talking straight IP. There is no Z-Wave bridge necessary.
Right. And Alexa integration.
I know it's being looked at for MXHome Pro. I couldn't give you a time frame, but I do know that it will be, it's in the pipeline, I guess is what I'd say.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, guys? In the meantime, while we're waiting for any more questions to roll through, we will be doing a raffle at the end of this where I'll be taking all the names, putting them in a hat, and we'll be doing a giveaway of an MXHome Pro system. So some lucky winner will get that, and I'll, as I send out my follow-up email, I'll include that information as well. This will be posted up to the YouTube channel in its entirety, so if you have anybody in your organization or if you'd like to revisit some of what you've learned today, it will be posted up there for your reference. And while you're there, please subscribe. Weekly we do webinars of various content, and they've been very well received. So if you have a chance, check out our YouTube channel and see some of the great content that's up there. This is just a comment. Suggests that Amazon Echo be at the front of the queue as customers are asking for it every day. We agree. The Alexa integration is very important today.
Yeah, you will, like I said, it's in the pipeline. I just don't have a time frame for it. It will be coming to Total Control very soon. MXHome Pro will eventually follow.
Great. Does the remote have a charging dock?
No, it does not. It is micro USB plug-in at the bottom of the remote. So it is rechargeable, but no actual dock. Just plugs in, let's call it cell phone style.
Okay. What is the battery life on the remote?
2 to 3 days normal use.
Okay. Is third-party app switching a switch to their full app or URC module app?
No. So just to clarify again, we have not written any two-way modules for mobile devices. Instead, we are launching their full app inside of our app, essentially. So when you hit that, you put in the little tray, a Sonos button, the Sonos app, you are indeed loading the Sonos app. So yes, you need to have that app on that mobile device. And yes, it will load that full app. That way you're getting the full experience of that device. And again, we give you a little back to MXHome Pro in the upper left-hand corner. That way you or your customer doesn't have to keep on hitting the home key and trying to dance between two different apps.
How would we program the app tray?
It's a press and hold at the top of the mobile device, and it's a little plus symbol. You press and hold it. Well, actually, you press it once and it drops down the tray, and you'll be basically given 8 empty slots. One of the empty slots you press and hold, and then it'll bring you to a new window that will let you choose from our list of apps that we support for the in-app launch. There's about 150 or so already in there. And it definitely has your most popular ones, you know, such as, you know, Roku, Sonos, Lutron, what else? Xfinity, DirecTV, Dish Network. The list really goes on and on and on. But it definitely has the most popular ones. You can even do stuff that's not an entertainment type device, such as, I know Facebook is in there. I know Amazon is in there as well. So it's a really robust list.
Hold on 1 second here. How is the favorite channel list managed?
Once you actually load the controller, you would go to, there's a little star page. Okay, depending on your mobile device you're using, there'll be a little star. You'd hit that, or if you're using the remote, you page left, and that's your favorite channel area. Once you go there, you would actually put in your zip code. You tell it what service you're using, and it even supports over-the-air antenna as well. After you're done, it will pull up a list of the complete channel lineup for that provider in your area, and you would just checkbox the channels that you want to add to the favorite channel module. Now, again, this can be managed by the end user as well. After they're done initially setting it up, we give you a add/edit button that's at the bottom of the list and allows you or your customer to move the icons to their choosing, and it also lets them add more if they would like to, or delete them if they wanted to as well.
Okay. App switch available the same as total control.
It's not the same, but we do offer in-app launching for total control as well. It's just done in the settings menu. So it's just, it wasn't really designed for the end user to do it, I guess you would say, although I guess you could show them how to do it. But yes, it's available for total control as well.
Okay. No more questions as of right now, Brett, so we can so again, just thanks everybody for coming. We're going to hang out here for a little bit in case any other questions pop up. But for those of you that would like to log off, this will pretty much conclude the session. We will be hosting. We have a webinar scheduled for next week for audio control. We'll be reviewing their series of DSP amplifiers. So that will be a great event if you're interested in providing your customers the best performing amplifiers possible for multi-room audio.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you guys for attending. And again, if maybe you think of something later on that you want to ask me a question about, just email me. My email address is at the bottom of the screen here. But thanks again for your time.